I'm turning into a real doomer these days. I mean, it genuinely feels like shitty people aren't the exception, they are the rule. I don't want any friends, and finding happiness should never be contingent on other people. That's just a general rule in life, regardless of your belief on the matter. But I've realized these days that I need to disconnect myself from humanity. I don't identify with you people, I don't strive for the same goals, I don't hold the same values, I don't even like most of you. But the main thing that is bothering me about this realization isn't about the disconnect. It's about the malice that exists in all of you. You're probably asking yourself, who the fuck is this loser, and what the fuck does he mean by this? Well, say you have a close friend, a ride or die homie, if you will. I genuinely believe that the true test is the dollar amount that you will fuck that person over for. Say someone offered you $1 million to fuck that person over. I think there's about 1,000 people out of the billions that wouldn't do that. And this isn't including the people who are already filthy rich because there are other circumstances at play there. It's really a measurement of the value to yourself that can be provided by fucking that person over. It's a threshold system. I see it in my personal relationships, I see it in the media, I see it in the stories I hear from other people, I see it everywhere. And I've yet to meet the human without high levels of malice when it comes to personal gain. Everybody is looking to get ahead, and this isn't an issue of economics, this is an issue of humanity scouting out what there is to gain and taking it. Money is only the best example because money represents the freedom to do anything given the right amount. It really seems like we're monkeys playing dress up. The only thing that sets humanity apart from the animals we rule over is the clothes we wear and our ability to communicate and build. And our entire society is a smokescreen for that fact. Ironically, society in and of itself creates the best example of this in the form of money, as I've covered. As my disconnect from humanity grows and my discontent with their desires and actions gets stronger, I find myself thinking about the fundamental ideas instilled within me from living in a society. My desires for a romantic relationship is the greatest example of this. I've had plenty of partners, so this isn't an incel thing. I could go out and get a girlfriend right now if the desire was high enough, but why is that something that I want? I've come to realize that desire exists in a place that isn't congruent with the real world. That partner that I want doesn't exist in reality, or if they do, they are drowned out by the mountains and mountains of trash people. I worry that I'm becoming more and more of a narcissist. Narcissism is something I've battled with. I don't think I'm a narcissist, but the possibility becomes ever more likely as my distaste for humanity grows and as I see myself more and more superior to most people. And to be clear, I'm not above any of this, but that only kills me more. I'm a selfish piece of shit like the rest of them, just to the same degree, I don't think so, but certainly there's a certain amount of value that I would fuck over some of the people that are close to me for, and I don't know what to do about that. I feel very lost in this whole ordeal. I feel as if my main issue is one of threshold. I'm uncomfortable with the idea that anyone will fuck over anyone for a certain amount of value, but what bothers me the most is the minuscule amount of value they are willing to do it for. My thoughts are scrambled as I write this, but I need a way to organize the absolute clusterfuck of thoughts going on in my head. There are many days where it doesn't bother me, but some days it eats away at my brain for hours. And remember, this is for me, this isn't for you. Hell, I'd probably hate you on a base level before diving into the mountains of malice existent within you. All of this is to say I've gone full doomer and I don't like it. I wish I could live in blissful ignorance, but I can't. But back to the narcissism. I think I'm better than average on not hurting others for personal gain, but I see that within myself and it kills me. But that's when we get into intelligence. It's very concerning, this thought I've had for years that I'm just gassing myself up. I never question that most people are stupid, that is a given. Looking around the world reveals that quickly, and diving deeper reveals that it's worse than it seems on the surface. But the concern is that I'm just as stupid as the rest of them. I don't know how to figure out my intelligence level, it seems an impossible task, and I don't think I win any gold medals for being smarter than them to begin with. I hold myself to an impossible standard that I'm not up to task with. My goal in life, aside from the only one that really matters, which is being happy, is to be the best in the world at something. Or at least top 1%, because apparently my brain thought top 1% is something more reasonable than the literal best in the world. But it seems I have problems of willpower and work ethic. I'm not willing to put in the hours. I feel like I could do anything if I put in the effort, but I don't know that. I haven't stopped to prove that because I'm unwilling to put in the effort required to do anything. What does that say about my value as a person? What does it mean if you could be the best at something? Or you have more potential than others? If that potential is never realized, all of this of course assuming the potential is actually even there, what does it even mean? I see fundamentally, even down to the way people form ideas, it seems as if it is objectively inferior to the system I've cultivated with the help of consuming lots of different ideas and going down the philosophy rabbit hole. But with going down the philosophy rabbit hole, I realize that fundamental assumptions about the worlds are on shaking ground. Everything is a blur of feelings and arbitrary ideas at its core, so I'm already starting with certain assumptions that make any creation of objective metrics meaningless, which brings me back through the loop. How do I quantify any of these things? How do I figure out my intelligence level? How do I figure out my intelligence level relative to others? And in thinking I'm smarter than most people, am I gassing myself up on my own shit? And to be clear, I don't think I'm super intelligent. It comes down to the fact that I think most people are dumb as fuck, which fills me with despair, but I've carried that for years, and that's fine. But I think the combination of stupidity and selfish malice is too much. The intelligence conversation is really only connected to my own fear of being a narcissist. I would like my ideas of the world to be congruent with reality, even if the reality is harsh and horrible, because I want to be able to act in the world and know the outcomes are going to be predictable. So I can make educated decisions based on the knowledge planted within reality. Otherwise, I'm just making decisions on a whim that is no better than any of the alternatives. As I'm writing this, I've lost the plot, which happens often. It's part of the reason I can't come to any resolution on any of this, because establishing the truth should come before accepting the truth and integrating it into your life. And that's when I come to the realization that even if I'm proven right, that's a very uncomfortable truth to live with. In an ideal world, I could be a true loner, never needing anyone, ever, and my social needs are very low, but being surrounded by people all around me who are malicious, selfish little dumb gremlins makes me uncomfortable, and that's not including the disgusting desire that I detest for socialization. I function best when I have a good relationship with a romantic partner and a good friend, and I hate that, but it seems an impossibility in the world as I see it. I wish I could be a cold motherfucker like Stephen Omni Destiny Bonnell II and extract the value from people without getting attached, but I can't. That's not how I function, and I don't know if it's possible for me to change that. At this stage, I find myself retreating even away from the one friend I felt like keeping, and I find myself missing something inside of myself, and I don't know how to replace it. The game plan for me is to do things I enjoy, minimizing the misery that comes from working 8-hour days, doing something awful with a half of waking life, not including other responsibilities, and then coming back to no one. I find myself missing the dumb shit, finding a funny thing and sharing it with someone, or having something crazy happen to me and sharing that with someone. For example, I woke up at 8 in the morning to a strange noise. I opened my eyes frustrated, and there's a fucking bird flailing around in my room. After that was over, I have the desire to share this strange thing that happened to me with someone else. I'm genuinely disappointed in myself for having such a stupid desire, but that doesn't make it go away. Another thing I'm going to miss is diving into someone's brain and discovering their view on the world. Most people are boring little clones, don't get me wrong, but the people I choose to associate with are interesting and unique people, often born out of mental illness and trauma, which is part of the problem. But I don't know how to rid myself of these desires. I don't know how to get rid of the impulse to share things with people, and I don't know how to have relationships with people where I can be disconnected to a degree that the problems I've discussed don't matter. But one thing I do know is romantic relationships are off the table, and friendship seems to be the same, so I find myself lost. Now, I originally planned to talk about the current state of our political system and the fact that the world is ending and no one cares, and instead they choose to focus on race and gender, but I think that's something for another video. I think I'm done with the ramblings, and I don't know if making this into a video is something I have a desire to do now. I felt as if it would help me more, but I'm not sure. I guess we'll see if any of you are seeing this, then clearly I decided to make it into a video. And also, if my crazy ex is watching, especially if she's gotten this far, holy shit, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you still consuming my content?